Alright, so I showed all of y'all all of my new customer return mowers that I got fixed, or at least all the variants of them. And I figured that y'all might want to see the ones that I carried over from last year. Most of them are somewhat similar in terms of engines. Almost all of them have the bigger the older non-overhead valve Briggs and Strattons that have the carburetor on them. So the first one here is a front drive Brute, and they all run good, by the way. I've already pulled them out and tested them for the spring. This first one's a Brute 22-inch. It's got the front drive self-propel. As you can see, it's been used pretty good. I had to put a wheel on the left side here because the one that was on it, the teeth for the self-propel were a little ground out on it, wasn't catching very well. 675 series Briggs and Stratton. Looks like this right rear wheel had been replaced on it. I don't remember all I had to do to all these mowers when I got them, but I don't remember having to do much to this. Maybe a carb clean, if that, and then replacing that wheel. But the second one here is a Toro Recycler. Was a front drive self-propel. I had sold this mower and the self-propel was working, and just unfortunately, a couple months into their ownership, the gears actually stripped out of the front drive, which I hadn't really seen before, and so it was just an unfortunate circumstance. They traded this back in on a new mower. Actually swapped this from a Tecumseh engine to a Briggs and Stratton. This was also a 675 series from a Troy-Bilt that had a bad deck on it. I don't have any bags or discharge chute for it. This is one of the newer mowers that I have. The deck actually came from a lot of Walmart customer returns that I got back in July. Had a blown up engine on it, had barely even been used as a mower. I think somebody just forgot to put oil in it. I had a decent engine that I transplanted onto this. The hardest part about this was having to try and find the pulley, or an engine that had the correct pulley to go with the self-propel system, and I was able to find one, which I was very surprised. It actually came off of a Craftsman mower that had a bad engine mounts. That one runs pretty good for what it is, and the self-propel works well. Everything except for the engine's basically brand new on it. And this Boland's here is a nice little big wheel mower. It has another variant of the Briggs and Stratton engines with the carburetor on it. This one's 6.25 horsepower. It's a 22-inch cut 2-in-1. I had to put a discharge chute on it. It's not the 100% correct discharge chute, but it works for what it's intended to do. A little wear on it, a little rust on the deck, but overall a decent solid mower. This one runs really well, and somewhere along the line the dog decided they wanted to chew up the pull rope handle a little bit, but it still functions as it's supposed to be. The only non-new mower that I have a bag for is this Troy-Bilt. It got traded in. I think this one got traded in a couple of times. Again, I don't know what I had to do with that one. I might have just had to put gas in it, or a carb clean. I mean, it was very basic stuff for this mower. Actually, I think I had to do a little work on the mechanism here. I don't think it was pulling back far enough and allowing the spark plug to spark. I'm pretty sure that's actually what I had to do with that one. But yeah, here's the Troy-Bilt. Decent shape. It's definitely been used. A little worn. Bag works. Just has, it's a little worn. It has a small hole in the top there, but it works the way it's supposed to. I ran out of beauty covers for this, but again, six-ish horsepower Briggs and Stratton on it. Runs good. Should be a good mower for somebody. And then this one's actually one of the other newer ones that I picked up in that smaller customer return lot back in July. It's one of the Murrays that has the plastic front end on it and the area for the bag. I don't have either the bag or the discharge chute for those because I ran out, but engine came off of a Husqvarna push mower that had bad engine mounts. Again, the deck is a year, maybe a year and a half old, and the engine is about 3 years old, so almost a brand new mower. All I had to do was transplant the engine onto this mower deck because the engine that was on it was blown up. I think somebody either forgot to put oil in it or it was a manufacturer defect, one of the two. And this one here is actually a commercial grade Troy-Bilt. It's pretty old. I don't know exactly how old it is. My guess is that it's probably from the mid-90s. I mean, it's old school for the most part in terms of self-propel. The front drive self-propel works. The wheels are pretty worn on it, but they still pull. You know, you're going to see that on any older self-propel mower. I don't have any wheels around here to replace it with at this point, but yeah, it's a commercial grade deck. It's an composite aluminum deck. Had one somewhat decent sized hole in the deck, and you can see a little wear on the sides here and a little bubbling up here, but you know, for its age, it's in decent shape. And this one's actually got the choke on it, as you can see, and the lever here to engage the self-propel. And this one's actually one of the older versions of what they make today at most of your big box stores. This one here looks like it was bought from Home Depot, according to the back here. And it is a 21-inch 675 series Briggs & Stratton. Still the old style non-overhead valve with the metal carburetor on it. This one's a ready start. As you can see, it's been well used. It's missing a bunch of paint. A little bit of rust here and there, but runs smooth, cuts pretty good. As you can see, somebody's kind of jerry-rigged the handle here, but what they did is, or allows it to still work, so I didn't really bother with that. But yeah, this one's, for it to be only 4 or 5 years old, they used it pretty good. Runs great though, and so hopefully that'll be a good mower for somebody too. And then finally, this is the only Tecumseh engine I currently have in the lot. It is a 5 horsepower Tecumseh on an Ariens Mulchmaster mower. It's got the big back wheels on it. It is self-propel, but unfortunately when I bought this mower, it is missing one of the main gears for the drive for the self-propel. It's one of these old style self-propels that have the friction wheel on it. So very good system. Just unfortunately one of the sprockets is missing, and it's a pretty big sprocket, and I don't have anything that I can use to fix it, but it does roll easily. It's a very heavy duty mower. And all the ones here, this is the only one I didn't have I had a bad safety cable for, and I'll make a separate video on what I do here. But I put 2 zip ties because I'm not a fan of pulling the spark plug boot out, and I would never ever sell a mower to somebody if they had to do that. So I make it a little bit safer. Put these 2 spark plugs, or 2 zip ties here where the old mechanism is, and whenever it's on, you hook it in here, then you pull it, turn it on, works great. Come over here, you get to stay about a foot away from the mower when you do all this, and you just push it back till it turns off. Nobody's really had an issue whenever I sell mowers with this or like this. I just don't recommend kids using them, but if you're an adult, you'd be fine with them. Yeah, I figured everybody would kind of want to know the other mowers that I have available that I'm going to start selling this weekend. Some So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to share them. And thank you all for watching.